So ESPN fantasy analyst Mike Clay, part-time cars driving and circle enthusiast as well as stupid Eagles fan. He's really good at what he does in projecting fantasy football stats. Now, we touched on his initial release a couple of weeks ago, but now he just updated his stats for the 2020 season. Let's take a look at what he says is going to happen for the Vikings. We'll see. So Kirk Cousins, right away. Only 15 games listed for Kirky. Does he know something that we don't? What's going on? And also, he's got 2 listed for Sean Mannion. What is going to happen? 17 games total. All right, so the Vikings will be 1 done the playoffs. Like, is that the plan here? If Sean Mannion starts 2 games, not great. But he's got Kirk throwing for 3,739 yards, which is up from last year, 3,603. 21 touchdowns, down from last year's 26. 9 picks, up from last year's 6. I actually don't think that Kirk will revert to bad Kirk. I think Kubiak knows his man. I think he's going to cater to his strengths and talents. You've seen that his interceptions have dropped precipitously throughout his career with basically like a career low 6 last year. Actually, if only I had a machine in front of me that could enable all of the information in the known universe. All right, so since Kirk Cousins became a full-time starter in 2015, 6 interceptions last year was a career low. So bam, there you go. It was actually the only time that he hasn't been in double digits, so nailed it. So 35 sacks last year, which is not great. How many sacks did Kirk get last year? 28. All right, so that's up. So he's also predicting that the offensive line is not going to be as up to snuff as it was last year, even though last year it was terrible. It does have him clocking in at QB 21 in terms of fantasy football ranks, which, who really cares? But Dalvin. So Dalvin's the big one. So Dalvin, in the midst of a contract negotiation, and we've talked about some of the rankings that you've seen around, just the disrespect is real up in this mother father. But, I mean, Clay, I think, is astute with Dalvin. He's got Dalvin rushing for 1,051 yards, 10 touchdowns, which would be phenomenal, as well as putting up 64 catches, 536, and a touchdown in the passing game as well. PPR will put him at running back 3, which I look up the rankings. I'm assuming it's McCaffrey and Zeke 1 and 2 respectively. But, yeah, that would be a nice way to go. Plus, Alexander Madison getting slightly more work than he did last year. Last year he had 100 carries on the nose, 462, and a touchdown. So now he's got 495 and 3. We will take that. Also got CJ Ham and Mike Boone getting slightly involved there passing game-wise. So this is interesting. So, of course, Kirk's passing yardage is up. His touchdowns are down. His interceptions are up. So you think that the passing game is a little less efficient than it was last year. But Adam Jerome, Ezekiel Thielen picking up the slack. Stephon Diggs is gone, but 120 targets, which is great. 78 catches, 1,104 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That's sort of on par with what you would expect from Adam Thielen. I think that, even though he is the true blue wide receiver 1 on the Vikings now, I think that even him getting true cornerback 1 attention, he'll still be able to have a nice little bounce back year. Last season, Thielen, an injury plague season, had 30, 418, and 6 touchdowns. Still able to get that 6 in, so that's kind of nice. And also in PPRs, has him at wide receiver 8, which I think is fair and astute. Justin Jefferson, the rookie coming in, 56 catches, 689 and 4 touchdowns. Now, I feel like some fans would see that, Justin Jefferson, first-round pick. It's the pick that they gave up for Stephon Diggs. But I think if Jefferson has that level of a season, that's a win. That is a major win because you're looking at a guy who's trying to transition to the NFL and potentially even play more on the outside and play against big-time NFL press coverage, which wasn't exactly his forte. Putting up that season, he's not going to come out and have a 1,000-yard season. If he does, obviously it would be a wonderful surprise and it would be great. And I think that means that Cousins and him are on the same page, as well as Kubiak's really diving into allowing Justin Jefferson to be one of the better slot wide receivers, in-breaking wide receivers in the league. But 56, 689, and 4. If you told me right now I could sign up for that stat line for Justin Jefferson, I would. I really, really would. Or maybe I'm just too reserved from Laquan Treadwell, 1 catch, 15-yard from his rookie season in 2016. It's not great. And also, in this Olabisi Johnson, Tajay Sharp obviously taking a back seat here. Also, so tight ends. The emergence of Irv Smith Jr. Hello. 46, 484, and 3 touchdowns. Tight end 22 in PPR, which But you can see it's a very clear passing of the torch. Irv is out-targeted as well as out-stats Kyle Rudolph, except for touchdowns, which I actually think could happen. Kyle's still giving me a very solid red zone option, but yeah, I think 2020 is going to be a transition year for the tight ends. I think you will see a lot more Irv Smith, a little less Kyle Rudolph. And now, moving to the defense. Production value. Ooh. All right, so defensive line. So you got Shamar Stephen as well as Michael Pierce. So he's got Stephen still making the team, both leading the way in snaps in terms of defensive interior. You got Jaleel Johnson, Armon Watts, James Lynch, and Hercules Badmata-Afa working in there. Notice he did not have Jalen Holmes. Intrigue. Then also, so interior-wise, he's got Jaleel Johnson lead the way in sacks at 2.3, which, if that happens, I mean, what happened with Armon Watts? If Armon Watts only gets 1.7 sacks on 275 snaps, if Armon Watts only has 275 snaps, I'll be fairly upset. Defensive edge guys. So no Everson Griffin, but he actually does have DJ Wanham working quite a bit, 357 snaps, which would be about 35% of total offensive snaps from last year. Daniil Hunter leading the way, 12.6 sacks. I think it's kind of low. I wish they had pressure numbers on here, but they don't. But in terms of like IDP, he'd be player number 3 in terms of edge guys, which I think would be rather astute. Afadi's sack numbers go down to 6.4. How many of Afadi had last year? I think he had 8. Yeah, no, 7. Sorry, Everson had 8 last year. DJ Wanham getting in the mix, like we said. Cheeseburger Eddie Yarbrough making the team and making some waves, playing 306 snaps as well as chipping in 2 sacks. So it would be pretty sweet. Zettel not really getting the time of day, but yeah, if this is James Lynch's contribution, I would be rather upset, because I think you'll see James Lynch a little bit more on the edge than on the defensive interior as a rotational guy, but yeah. See, linebacker-wise, Kendricks and Barr basically never leaving the field, which is great, racking up 116 and 92 sacks or tackles, respectively. Not sacks, because that would be a record, but also only 1.9 sacks for Barr. Free 55, let him hunt. Let him get after that passer. And then, pretty clear that Wilson is still that third linebacker over Ben Gideon. Troy Dye in the mix as well. They don't have special team snaps on here. That's fine. Cornerback-wise, pretty clear that, Gladney and Hughes are the starters like we had predicted. Once they go to nickel, bring in either Holton Hill or Cameron Dantzler. Then I think Mike Hughes will kick inside. I think that's the plan with nickel and sub package going forward. He's got Harrison Hand getting on the field quite a bit, as well as Chris Boyd just hangs on as a 6th cornerback. Then, let's see here. Interceptions-wise, got 1.8 for Hughes, 1.6 for Gladney. It's only 4.9. And actually, I'm good at math. 9.5 interceptions total for the secondary. No. He does have 1.9 for Kendricks, though, which would be second on the team, which I think is astute. I think it's pretty clearly established that 54 is one of the best coverage linebackers in the National Football League. And then also safeties. So he's got Brian Cole making the squad, which is interesting. I think it certainly could happen. Josh Metellus is that third safety. Then Harris and Anthony Harris, of course, are studs as well. Also, he's got game predictions on here. So 8.8 wins projected. So if the Vikings go 8.8 and was it 7.2, is that good enough to make the playoffs? It is NFL ranked 12. So yeah, I think that the Vikings could squeak in. But you look through win probabilities. Vikings monster favorites at home, which is great. Dogs on the road against Indy. Sort of a push against Houston, which is interesting. 43% at Seattle. I think that's kind of high. I think it's kind of high since Seattle owns the Vikings in prime time. Congratulations on always getting to play at home. Big favorites over the Falcons, which is surprising to me. Almost as big of favorites, larger favorites, Falcons over than the Lions at home. 40% to win in Green Bay after the bye. Big time favorites against Carolina and Jacksonville. I think that will switch with Carolina. I think by week 12, Carolina will really be getting their stuff together. Dallas at 52%, basically a coin flip. That's really intriguing. Vikings playing at home. The big dogs on the road, Tampa, as well as Christmas Day, New Orleans, only 25% to win, which I disagree. And also this 46% on the road, week 17 at Detroit. No. I mean, who's going to be interim head coach by of the Lions by week 17? It's not going to be Patricia. You're going to be gone. Nah. But that is it Looks pretty good. Oh, unit grades. Quarterback 2.4. The Cousins disrespect is real, but I understand. A running back's 3.5, which is pretty solid. Tight end's 3.5. I love the Irv Smith. 1.4 for wide receivers. Everyone hates Justin Jefferson. I don't know why. I understand the Vikings gave up Diggs. Sure. O-line a 0.4. It's like a J-Ron DUI. Nah, it's not great. Interior, I understand 0.9. Edge 3.1 should be higher. Everyone doesn't believe in Fadio Dena, but off-ball linebackers, I think that should be higher. Just Barr and Kendricks completely raising that bar there. Pardon the pun. 1.1 for cornerbacks. They're young, so I get it. Safety 4, sure, whatever. So that's it. That's our thoughts on ESPN stat projections. Mike Clay, of course, keep in mind he's an Eagles fan. Just need to throw that out there again. But what are your thoughts and our thoughts? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You want to support the work, pull some of the Venmo. Please give us a follow on social media as well. But until next time, Skull, production value.